Stefon Diggs to the New England Patriots. You guys are hearing this correctly. This is not speculation. This is not me saying the Patriots should or should not target him. This is not my video from about a month ago talking about how PFF believes the number one free agent the New England Patriots should sign is Stefon Diggs. This is a real report. This is real, my friends. This is happening in real time. According to Chad Graff, the New England Patriots are currently right now in this moment hosting former Buffalo Bills and Houston Texans wide receiver Stefon Diggs for a visit in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium. They're doing it. They are actually doing it. Now, look, I have my reservations on if I think they actually should sign Stefon Diggs or if they should not sign Stefon Diggs. We're going to break all that down in today's video. Some of you might know it. Some of you might not. But shout out to each and every single one of you that are in the live chat right now. And shout out to all of you that maybe are watching this back after we go live for the breaking news. This team has been very, very busy when it comes to rumors, free agent signings. They added a linebacker today whose name is escaping me right now. Let me make sure I get this right. So earlier today, they signed linebacker Jack Gibbens. We did a video on that. Make sure you guys check out that video where I break down who Jack Gibbens is, what he brings to the Patriots, and why I actually like that signing. It's actually interesting because Jack Gibbens wasn't sure if he was going to have a meeting with the Patriots. So it's kind of funny how that whole situation worked out. Make sure to check out that video. But the Patriots had met with Jack Gibbens earlier today, and then they signed him. And then late here on this beautiful Wednesday night, they're not done because now they're bringing in a veteran wide receiver to potentially help Drake Maye. Now, whatever you want to say about Stefon Diggs, one thing you cannot say is that he was not productive before his ACL tear this past season with the Houston Texans. This was Evan Lazar who posted this. He said, Stefon Diggs finished second in ESPN's receiver score metric last season, only behind A.J. Brown, who we know Mike Vrabel and the Patriots view very highly. He says that Diggs still got open and caught everything that was thrown his way. Diggs was on pace for 100 catches for 1,054 yards this past season. I wouldn't overthink this one in terms of his fit on the Patriots. In terms of Diggs' fit on the New England Patriots, I don't think there's much receivers that are a better fit, to be honest with you. Whether it came to a trade for DK Metcalf, whether it came to signing Cooper Kupp, signing Keenan Allen, Diggs has always been a fit for the Patriots. Whether it was in Bill O'Brien's system, whether it was in Matt Patricia's system, whether it was in Alex Van Pelt's system, Diggs has always been a fit. But especially now with Josh McDaniels, it feels like that savvy route runner who can get open in all three phases, short, intermediate, deep, a guy who can play on the outside, a guy who can play in the slot that the Patriots do still need. They do still need a slot receiver. Stefon Diggs is that perfect fit. And maybe he's not a wide receiver one anymore, coming off of an ACL injury, which we'll talk about here in a second. He's 31 years old. He's obviously taken a step back. He's not the receiver he once used to be, where he was constantly burning the Patriots twice a year. I'm not telling you that he's that same wide receiver, but at the very least, he is a very good wide receiver too. And the Patriots don't just need a high, elite wide receiver one. They also need a wide receiver too. So this would be an addition that would make a ton of sense. But there are a couple of things about Stefon Diggs that worry me, for lack of better words. There's been a reason why I have not been pushing the narrative for the Patriots to sign Stefon Diggs. And it's not because I don't want help at wide receiver. It's not because I don't think he'd be a fit. Because I do think he'd be a fit. I'm very clear on that. I cannot press that enough. I do think he'd be a great fit. But there's two reasons why I'm not sure why signing Stefon Diggs would be the correct option for the Patriots. Number one, he does have character concerns. I'm sick and tired of hearing the media talk about how, Stefon Diggs, he's not a problem. What are these Patriots fans talking about? He's not an issue. Really? Are you that blind behind the scenes? Do you have no idea what is going on with players other than what happens on the field? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Boy, I learned this time around. And Stefon Diggs, he didn't just have issues with the Buffalo Bills. He had issues with the Minnesota Vikings. There were rumors that came out during this past season, and I got to be careful of my words. So allegedly, there was a guy who came out and said that Stefon Diggs had done stuff to this person. Now, this is all alleged. I'm not sure where this storyline is now, but I remember it being a big storyline towards the end of the season, heading into the playoffs. Where there is smoke, there is fire. And you cannot deny the fact that Stefon Diggs is a diva. Okay, that's why he was traded to the Buffalo Bills in the first place. It wasn't that Minnesota wanted to get rid of their star wide receiver or one of their star wide receivers. They got rid of him because he was demanding his way out. He was toxic to the locker room. He was toxic to the team's mindset and the team's success. So they sent him to the Buffalo Bills. He gets a big contract with the Buffalo Bills. He's playing with Josh Allen. He's playing for a contender. Everything seems great. I mean, he's wide receiver one. What more could Diggs possibly want? And things are perfect in Buffalo for the first few years. But over the last few years in Buffalo, 2023, 2022, feels like rumbling started towards the end of 2021. That's when we started to hear that Stefon Diggs was a merchant of production. And what I mean by that is if he's not going off every single game, he's not getting the production, you're not throwing to him every single time that he is wide open, he's going to show his frustration on the field. He's going to give his quarterback bad looks. He's going to wear his heart on his sleeve. He's going to be a diva. I'm sorry, but I do not think that it is a coincidence that Josh Allen goes over the last few years from being one of the most, in fact, the most turnover-worthy prone quarterback in the National Football League. Mr. Turn the ball over himself, as we all consider Josh Allen. To everybody saying that this past season, the Buffalo Bills would not be the same, Josh Allen would take a step back because Diggs was leaving. What happened? Josh Allen wins MVP. The Buffalo Bills go to the AFC Championship game. They were a Dalton Kincaid catch away from going to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen had the best year of his career with arguably the worst receiving core he's ever had, and that was year one without Stefon Diggs. Why was Josh Allen better? Because Josh Allen could play freely. Josh Allen is the type of quarterback that creates off script to where when things aren't going as planned, Josh Allen is going to find a way to still make things happen. He's going to put the team on his back. He's going to put the ball and distribute the ball where it needs to go for the team to be successful, not for himself, not for one individual player to be successful. But that's what he had to do. That's what Josh Allen had to do during his time with the Texans. That's what Josh Allen had to do during Stefon Diggs' time with the Bills. He had to go to Diggs. Josh Allen had to force feed the ball to Diggs, or Diggs was going to go off. Diggs was going to make a big deal about it, to the point where Josh Allen said, I might not love the coverage I'm seeing. I might not want to give the ball to Diggs right now, but I know if I don't, there's going to be dire consequences because of it, and it's not worth it. Ironically, what quarterback is Drake Maye compared to? Josh Allen. Everything that I just said about Josh Allen is exactly what Drake Maye is known to do. Create off script. You don't want a guy on the field who's going to demand the ball constantly, who's going to throw a pity fit whenever he doesn't get the ball, when things don't go his way. And you can't tell me it was just with the Bills, because the same thing happened in Minnesota. The only reason you did not see the same thing happen with the Houston Texans was because Diggs was only there for a year. I'm telling you, if Diggs was there for multiple years, you would have seen that exact same thing happen. I don't care if Diggs was a captain for the Texans or whatnot, okay? I've seen this story multiple times. Now, the other reason why I'm hesitant to sign Stefon Diggs, and I've been hesitant, is because of his injury. For those who don't know, it was October 27th. I remember because it was the day after my birthday. It was October 27th. I forget who they were facing. But Stefon Diggs at that point was wide receiver 1 for the Texans because Nico Collins had gone down. And he was performing really, really well. Really well with CJ Stroud and that Texans offensive line that was essentially non-existent. But then he tears his ACL. He's out for the rest of the year, and that's why he's not been signed. If Diggs had stayed healthy, I have no doubt in my mind he would have eclipsed 1,000 yards. He would have had another great year despite being 31 years of age. But the truth of the matter is that he did get injured. He did tear his ACL. He is 31 years old. These are the facts. I don't care what he was on pace for. I care what's actually happening. From what Chad Graff has said, now, of course, tearing your ACL, it's not what it once used to be. Players can come back from these things, and every player develops a little bit different. Every player might take a little bit longer. Some players, might rehab a little bit quicker. But from what Chad Graff is saying, it's not very likely that Stefon Diggs would be ready for week 1. In fact, I heard, I forget who it was in the Boston media. It might have been Alex Barth. Don't quote me on this. There's been a lot of reports that have come out lately. But there was someone in the Boston media that I heard talking about the potential addition of Stefon Diggs. Would they like it or not? And they said that they wouldn't expect Stefon Diggs to be ready to play for the Patriots until October. So why would I bring in a 31-year-old wide receiver coming off an ACL injury who's going to play half the season for me? And by the time he starts playing, let's say Diggs does come back in October. How many weeks is it going to take him to get on the same page as Drake Maye? Learn the playbook. Get back into football shape. Because if you sign Stefon Diggs, he's not going to be there for minicamp. He's not there for OTAs. He's not there for training camp. He'll be there to take mental notes. He'll essentially be there doing exactly what Kendrick Bourne did this past season. But at least Kendrick Bourne had been in this system for years. He didn't have a rapport with the quarterbacks, but he knew the system. He knew what he was running. He'd been with the organization. Stefon Diggs would be year 1 coming back from the injury, never played with these quarterbacks before, never been in this system before. What's the point in signing him? That's what's confusing to me. Now, I do believe that the reason the Patriots are meeting with him and they're not signing him right away is because these are the things they want to know. I believe the interest from the Patriots is real, and it should be real. I understand why it's real. But there's things that have to check out for this to make sense for the New England Patriots. I'm sure they're going to ask about his medicals. I'm sure if things go well enough, they're going to want a physical. I'm sure they know about his character concerns, and they wanted to sit down with him and just talk to him. See what they thought about his character. Because do they view him the way the Houston Texans do, to where they made him a captain last year in Houston? Or do they see the character concerns that arised in Buffalo, that arised in Minnesota? Because one thing I promise you guys is even if Stefon Diggs was well past where his rehabilitation process was supposed to be, and let's say he could be ready week 1, I promise you the Patriots and Vrabel, they still would not sign Stefon Diggs if they picked up on any toxicity coming from him. If they thought that he was too immature, if he was a threat to that locker room in any type of way, they will not sign him. Reports came out that the reason the Patriots were out on DK Metcalf and I'm trying to remember who the other receiver is that the Patriots were out on. So it was DK Metcalf and Devontae Adams. Reports came out, I believe, actually, I forget who it was by, but the reports essentially said that the reason the Patriots weren't in on those 2 free agent wide receivers, well, Devontae Adams was a free agent. We all know that with DK Metcalf, they would have had to have traded for him. But the reason the Patriots ultimately were out on both of those guys was because of the character concerns. The Patriots are protecting these young players. They are protecting the locker room. They are protecting the fate of this team at all costs. And I agree. You guys might be saying it's stupid. Get good players in here. Get players who have proven that they can be good on the field. We have to accept the fact that football is just as much mental as it is physical. If you are not playing for the guys to your left and to your right, if you are not playing cohesively as a unit, I don't care how talented you are as individuals, it'll never translate on the field. Football is not a game for individuals. Football is the ultimate team sport. Think about all the times that the Patriots won championships. Some of the best seasons we saw in New England. It is because they played cohesively together as a team, as a unit. Nobody cared about themselves. They all had one goal, and that was to be successful. Julian Edelman, Gronk, Moss, they didn't care about putting up 1,000 yards on the season or having 100-yard games. They just cared about success. Even if that meant that whatever running back was at the time, even if LeGarrette Blount had to go off for 200 rushing yards in the game, and they went for 15 receiving yards a pop. They didn't care as long as they won games and they won championships, and that's where Vrabel is at. You cannot say, oh, I don't care if they have character concerns. I don't care if they're toxic off the field. I just want guys who are ballers on the field come game day. But then also be the same person that complains when the wide receivers are out here with no mentor, with no veteran in the building, with no direction. They're being toxic and posting all over social media. You cannot say both of those things. They cannot be true at the same time. Now, I know I just went off on a tangent here. I get it. But I think this needed to be said about Stefon Diggs. Whether it's a character concern, whether it is his health, these are two major questions about him. And I am not signing Stefon Diggs to a multi-year deal. He's going on 32 years old. Am I supposed to sign him to a 2-year deal? He's going to be 34 by the time that deal's up? That makes zero sense. If you're signing Stefon Diggs, it is as a bridge. As a bridge to the future wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 that you get. You're not signing him to a multi-year deal. Nobody is signing Stefon Diggs to a multi-year deal. I mean, he was healthy last year. He was on a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans. He was on a 1-year deal. They didn't care to give him anything more than a 1-year deal. They didn't care to extend him. Now he's 1 year older, coming off of a season-ending injury. No one in the league is going to do that. I do want to look at some of his numbers, though. And before we do that, I do want to get into the super chats because you guys, of course, as always, are very, very generous. My boy, Neil Ray. Neil, I feel like it's been years since I've seen you, bro. I feel like it's been years. Glad to see you back. He said, hope we get Diggs. Our offense is top 10 on paper. Or excuse me, defense. My dyslexia is kicking in a little bit here. Our defense is top 10 on paper. 100%, right? We all know the defense is going to be baller this season. It's the offense that needs help. Patriots still need a solidified center. I know everyone likes Bradbury, I think, for name value. I'll be the first one to tell you guys, and I said this in my video about him, the Patriots need a competition in training camp at center. You do not go into training camp saying that Bradbury is your starting center guaranteed. But the Patriots still need to figure out who their left guard's going to be. I still think the Patriots need to upgrade at left tackle over Vidarian Lowe. I think he's an okay bridge, an okay stopgap. But even if you bring in Vidarian Lowe and you're comfortable rolling him in as left tackle 1 for week 1, you still need depth because Vidarian Lowe is someone who doesn't stay healthy. So that's kind of my thought process. Shout out to my boy Neil Ray for the donation, though. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of Diggs' numbers here. So this past season with the Houston Texans, Diggs put up an overall grade before getting injured, of course. I think he appeared in like 7 or 8 games. He had an overall grade of 79 that ranked 21st out of a qualifying 98 wide receivers. He had a receiving grade of 79.7 that ranked 22nd out of a qualifying 98 wide receivers. He He was targeted 62 times, 47 receptions, 496 yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. When CJ Stroud targeted him, he had a passer rating of 108. It really doesn't get too much better than that. And Diggs also put up 4 yards after the catch per reception. Diggs also was averaging about 10.6 yards per reception. So just over, just over a first yard per reception to go along with 2 drops. Like I said, he had a pretty good season and was on pace to have a very good season. He still looked like the old Stefon Diggs this past year. In 2023, his final year in Buffalo, he had an overall grade of 81.1 that ranked 18th out of a qualifying 85 wide receivers. He had a receiving grade of 81.1 that ranks 20th out of 85 wide receivers. He was targeted 159 times, 107 receptions, 1,183 yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. When Josh Allen targeted him, he had a passer rating of 95.5. And also, Diggs was averaging 11.1 yards per reception and had a total of 6 drops. I will say, as the 2023 season progressed, Diggs just completely fell off. He just wasn't being utilized in Joe Brady's offense anymore, which is also part of why Diggs was as pissed as he was and ultimately demanded a trade out of Buffalo. So that's kind of the numbers that you're looking at. Again, you have to understand that these numbers are also before his recent ACL injury. So again, he's been baller the last few years, even this past season. But what is he going to look like coming back from this injury? I still think he's going to be a good enough wide receiver. I don't think he's going to completely fall off. I don't think he's going to be a wide receiver 1, but I still think he can be a wide receiver 2. Even if he puts up 700 yards, 800 yards, I think that's more than reasonable for a wide receiver 2. I just don't know if he makes sense for the Patriots. The Patriots are not a team that is expecting to be a contender. So I think Diggs would make more sense for a team that is a contender, right? Look at going back to a team like the Houston Texans, the Chargers, the Broncos, looking at teams like the NFC, the Buccaneers, if they really want a wide receiver 3. I don't know if Diggs would go there though, but you kind of get the drift that I have, right? Those contenders to where come January, come February, they're still going to need a player like Stefon Diggs. The Patriots season is more than likely going to be over come week 18 of the 2025 season. So again, do you really want to bring in a player who you're really only going to get for half the season, who isn't going to be able to prepare for you during the preseason process, right? He's not going to play in the preseason. He's not going to play in training camp. He's not going to play in mini camp, any of that. There's some other wide receivers. If the Patriots really want to upgrade at wide receiver, there's some other guys I would look at. Now, none are as good as Diggs was last year, but there's still ways the Patriots can upgrade. I think if you sign Tyler Lockett would be good on a 1-year deal, would fit in perfectly as that slot receiver that New England is still looking for. Someone who can still take 70, 80 receptions on the season is the perfect veteran. He's not going to cost you much, and you only have to sign him to a 1-year deal. Keenan Allen. In fact, I'm actually kind of curious at Keenan Allen's numbers. How old is Keenan Allen? I know he's in his 30s. But even Keenan Allen. So Keenan Allen he's 6'2", 211 pounds. He's 32 years old. So Keenan Allen is also another guy that I would only bring on a 1-year deal. But again, that's what the Patriots would be doing with Diggs anyway. And Allen didn't have a bad year this past year. Keenan Allen had a total of, so he was targeted 117 times. He had 70 receptions, 744 yards, and 7 receiving touchdowns. When he was targeted, Caleb Williams had a passer rating of 98.4, and Keenan Allen was averaging 10.6 yards per reception. He had an overall PFF grade of 64.4 that ranks 70th among 98 wide receivers. He had a 98.2 overall receiving grade that ranks 63rd out of 98 wide receivers. I think that Keenan Allen, you also have to look at the situation he was in. He was what? Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. With the Bears this past season, they had extremely inconsistent quarterback play, a terrible offensive line. I think he'd be coming to a situation where even if the O-line isn't great in New England, you know you're going to get a lot more consistent quarterback play from Drake Maye than you got from Caleb Williams this past year. So, and the great thing, too, about Tyler Lockett and Keenan Allen is that both of these guys are ready now. So you can sign them to one-year deals. They're not going to cost a lot considering they're still free agents a week and a half after the start of free agency. And they'll be able to practice this offseason. They'll be there for OTAs. They'll be there for minicamp. They'll be there for training camp. They can actually work in the system. They can work and build the rapport with Drake Maye in this offense before the start of the season. And again, they're veterans. They are poised veterans. Keenan Allen and Tyler Lockett have both never had issues from a character concern standpoint. So I feel very comfortable with them coming in, helping a young Drake Maye, but also help setting the tone and being a wide receiver that these younger guys like Javon Baker and Jalen Polk and whoever they end up taking in the draft can really grasp on and use Keenan Allen or Tyler Lockett as kind of a sponge to soak in the expectations and how to be a wide receiver in the league. That's just me. I see DTN saying, what about Amari Cooper? Hell no. Hell no, dude. Hold up. I got to pull up his numbers too, just for reference. Like, I don't even want them to look at Amari Cooper. Which is crazy because I almost wanted them to trade for him last year. Really glad we dodged that bullet. But Amari Cooper is 6'1", 211, 30 years old. He had a PFF grade of 68.3 this past season, a receiving grade of 69. He was targeted 82 times, 44 receptions, 547 yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. When quarterbacks threw his way, he had a passer rating of 80.7. It just felt like Amari Cooper did virtually nothing. I think you can still get better play from Tyler Lockett or Keenan Allen. But Trey comes in here with a $10 donation. Shout out to Trey. He says, Why is offense is such an afterthought to this team? 13 free agents signed so far, and 5 of them are on offense. Only one of those 5 are a viable starter in Moses. Moses, who's also 34 years old and signed to a 3-year deal, but instead of getting depth pieces. So here's what I'll say, Trey. A lot of Patriots fans have felt this way. A lot of Patriots fans have been very, very upset with the team going after defense, getting the big moves on defense, not addressing the need at wide receiver, not addressing the need at tackle. Who are they supposed to go after? That's always my response to these fans saying this is, you wanted a wide receiver 1. Who are they supposed to go after? T. Higgins, he didn't hit the market. The Patriots had heavy interest in T. Higgins, but again, he didn't hit the open market. Chris Godwin, I guess he technically hit the open market. Metaphorically, like we all know he didn't. Mentally, we knew he was never going anywhere. But as soon as it hit Monday and it was the legal tampering period and the Patriots could talk to him without getting in trouble, they immediately said, here's $28, $30 million per year. $8 to $10 million more than the Buccaneers are offering you. Come to New England, play with Drake Maye. You're the wide receiver 1. You're going to put up better numbers than you ever have in Tampa Bay. And he still said no. And he didn't say no because New England is just a terrible place. And this, that, and the third. He said no because he wanted to stay in Tampa Bay. He's on the back end of his career. He's in a good situation with no state income tax. He's got a real good thing going from there in Tampa Bay. I understand why he didn't want to leave. All right. But the Patriots tried. They tried aggressively to go out and get themselves a wide receiver 1. Even though it was going to be an overpay for Godwin, they did still try. Other than that, who was the wide receiver the team should go after? I liked Darius Slayton, but Darius Slayton wasn't going to solve all your needs at wide receiver. A lot of people thought that he would have been redundant. I thought he would have been a good wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, but they got their wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 in Matt Collins anyway, who statistically had one of his best seasons ever under Josh McDaniels, where he put up 600-700 yards on the season. Damn, I'll take 600-700 yards from a wide receiver here in New England. Damn, I don't know the last time that happened. Patriots should go out and get their left tackle. Who on the open market was open at left tackle? You know, they were interested in Patrick McCreary, the guard from Baltimore. He ended up getting signed. They were interested in In Baltimore's left tackle, Ronnie Stanley, they offered him $24 million a year. If Ronnie Stanley hit the open market and really hit the open market, the Patriots would have offered him the most money. He would have been here. But he wanted to stay and take a massive pay cut just like Chris Godwin did in order to stay with Baltimore. The Patriots are trying. They tried with the wide receiver one in Godwin. They tried with the left tackle one, a true left tackle in Ronnie Stanley. Those guys decided they wanted to stay with their teams because their teams are contenders. It's not like the team isn't trying. Unfortunately, with left tackle, well, not even left tackle, unfortunately with tackle and wide receiver, if you want quality players at those positions, you have to go out and you have to draft them. This isn't a secret. Everybody's saying they need to go out in free agency and get those guys. It's not realistic. It doesn't happen. When do you see wide receiver one signed on the open market? When do you see true starting tackles of high caliber being signed on the open market? You don't. This is an offensive-minded league. Everybody wants those guys. So when teams have those guys, they don't let them walk. What all Patriots fans should be saying is, for the love of God, go to the freaking draft and only draft offense. That's a little bit much, but rounds 1, rounds 2, make that offense. Trade down from the 4th overall pick. Get extra draft capital. Go tackle in the 1st or 2nd round. Get a wide receiver in the 1st or 2nd round. Because if you want those guys, you want game changers offensively at the most important positions of need, you have to draft them. It's as simple as that. Draft and develop. S27 comes in here with a $2 donation, says, would you want a domed stadium like the Browns? So I just heard about that. Is that true? That the Browns are actually building a new stadium? Do the Browns have enough money to do that? Where are the Cleveland Browns getting enough money to make a damn move like that? To build a whole new stadium? The team's made the playoffs once. Where are they getting this kind of money? Am I missing something? From what I saw, though, that Cleveland Browns dome that they're building for their new stadium looked dope. That stadium looked cool as hell. I'm not gonna lie. One of those Raiders, Rams, those types of stadiums, the Browns stadium, the Bills stadium that they're building right now, I'm not gonna lie. I love Gillette Stadium, but having a stadium like that would be unfreaking real. Again, love Gillette Stadium. It is iconic. But boy, oh boy, are those stadiums just something else. Colby, Mike Vrabel said that number 1 receivers are mostly drafted and there is no number 1 wide receiver just walking around. I would love to have a wide receiver 1 on a rookie deal with May. Exactly. Vrabel is coming out here and saying exactly the same things that I'm telling you guys. So if you really hate me and you're like, Colby, I just want a wide receiver 1. I don't care about logic. Shut up. And you want to hate me because of it. That's okay. But you're also going to have to hate Mike Vrabel, unfortunately. That's why start talking about guys like Tate McMillan. Start talking about Matthew Goldens. Start talking about Emeka Egbuka, who maybe this is a hot take. I think when it's all said and done and we look back on the 2025 draft, I think the number 1 wide receiver is going to be Emeka Egbuka coming out of Ohio State. Ohio State produces wide receivers, man. Let me tell you. Every first round wide receiver coming out of Ohio State is just immediately great. So, Emeka Egbuka, man, I'm telling you. But for real talking, rounds 2 to 3, we heard the Patriots say that, Elliott Wolf saying that they believe that that's where some of the better players actually are. And I do agree with it. Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll, Jalen Royals, These are just to name some of the few receivers that I really, really like, and I think they're going to be really good for franchises. Guys you don't have to draft in the first round. They can go as early as the second. They can go as late as rounds 3 and 4. Those are the guys that I really would love to see the Patriots target. Jalen Noel, more of that slot receiver at 5'11", 6 foot. Jaden Higgins, a big body outside receiver at 6'4", but ran like a 4.4, I believe it was. So, has his speed to be able to go along with the size. Looked really good at the Senior Bowl. But, we got Trey coming back in here. Trey says, thanks for reminding me, Colby. I need a new project for my landscape architecture portfolio. Hey, yo, Trey. You a real life Ted Mosby, bro. That's crazy. Hey, man, if any of you know what I just said, you were raised correctly. If any of you know architecture Ted Mosby and you know what that's from, you were raised correctly and we can be friends. But Trey says, maybe I can design the surrounding area for a new stadium with a retractable roof. Dude, Trey, if you ever need to, I don't know if you're still in school, but if you ever need to build something for your portfolio, you just want to have some fun. If you're in school and you need to build something for school, you should build a New England Patriots stadium, a modernized retractable roof. What would you do if you were building the New England Patriots stadium? Because one of these days it's got to happen. If all the teams are doing it, the Patriots got to be up at some point. And if you ever do that, Trey, freaking send it to me and I will literally show it on a live stream, because that would be freaking dope. I feel like I've seen a lot of people do mock uniform changes for the Patriots, but I've never seen someone do a mock new stadium for the Patriots. That would be fire. That would be fire. Oh, Trey says, I'm almost done. University of Massachusetts. Ooh, 2025. I graduate. Oh, wait. No, I graduate 2025 also. So I graduate from Full Sail University in December. Either my classes end December or I graduate in December, but I'll have my bachelor's in sports broadcasting. So let's go, Trey. 2025, man. The class of 2025. Captain Rex says, How I Met Your Mother is the best show ever. Yes, you got it. Let's go. Captain Rex, you were raised correctly. Oh my God. All of you know it. Okay, let's go. I love that. Dude, How I Met Your Mother is my safe show. That show you just put on in the background and just enjoy life. You don't have to watch it. You just know what's going on. How I Met Your Mother is one of the most underrated. No, it is the most underrated sitcom of all time. It puts together real life lessons with comedy while also mixing in some of the craziest heartbreak you will ever feel when watching a TV show. It's insane. Literally insane. So this is one more thing I want to address before we log off. Rare to hit free agency. Did you miss Washington trade for Lermy Tunsil, who's an elite left tackle? Lermy Tunsil's what? In his 30s, if I remember correctly. Make sure I'm not gaslighting anybody. Yeah, Lermy Tunsil's 30 years old. The Patriots would have had to give up draft compensation on that, because I know what people are going to say. Oh, so you don't want to trade for Lermy Tunsil, but you want to sign Morgan Moses, a 34-year-old right tackle? They signed Morgan Moses in free agency. They had the money to spend. They have the money now. They have the money for future years. They didn't have to give up valuable draft compensation for him. That's the difference. If the Patriots had to trade for Morgan Moses, I swear to you, they would not have made that move. If Lermy Tunsil was a free agent, I promise you the Patriots would have been in on him. Lermy Tunsil doesn't make sense for the Patriots. Now, from what I understand, the Patriots did kick the tires and at least look in on Laremy Tunsil. But the Patriots didn't believe that it made sense for them, given where they are in a rebuild, to trade for a tackle that is 30 years old. He's on the decline. You would have had to take on his contract, maybe even give him a contract extension, while also giving up valuable draft compensation that this team needs to get younger and start building this team from the bottom up. That's why they didn't get Laremy Tunsil. Because this team understands their position. They're not going to go out there and give up valuable assets for an aging player on the decline. Maybe it fills a hole right now, but the Patriots aren't just thinking about right now. That's what fans are not understanding. People are not understanding that the team is not just trying to build for now, but they're trying to build for the future. A 2026 second rounder and a few mid-rounders to help Drake's year 2 development. You're telling me that you're giving up a second rounder and mid-round picks? You're giving up multiple high-end draft picks. The Patriots, by the way, have a high second-round pick to where it's viewed as a back end of the first-round pick. You're telling me you're willing to give up this amount of draft compensation for a 30-year-old tackle on the decline just to help Drake Maye out for a year? Do we understand why the team didn't make this move? Do we understand why they shouldn't make that move? Use that second round pick and go get Ariante Ursary, a young left tackle that you can develop on a rookie deal for 4 years, who can be a part of your organization, not just for now, but when you start succeeding and competing in the future. Moves like Laremy Tunsil only make sense for teams who are actual contenders right now and are trying to capitalize on being a contender. This team's not there yet. The Patriots have the worst roster in the NFL. Mike Vrabel was handed the worst roster in the NFL. Gerard Mayo was handed the worst roster in the NFL. It is going to take multiple years to rebuild this. The Patriots were not going to be contenders last year. The Patriots are not going to be contenders this year. It is going to take time. It takes time to build up the worst roster in the NFL. I think these should be common fact things, guys. If you see that, I don't know, who are some like really good aging wide receivers right now? I don't even know. But let's say that there is a wide receiver one that is 31 years old, and we hear that they become available for trade. You're going to hear all of Pat's Nation say, oh, we should be in on that because we need a wide receiver one right now. I promise you the Patriots will not be in on them. Because the Patriots are trying to get younger. They are trying to build pieces, not just for now, but for the future. And again, they are not going to give up high draft compensation that could have been utilized to bring on younger players on rookie deals. Why do fans think that we need to sell the house to improve everything right now? That we need to sell the house to try to be competitive for 2025? Don't you want sustainable success? Don't you want to be good for multiple years and not just 1 year? The Tennessee Titans, this time last year, tried to go all in with a new regime at trying to be good, at trying to be a contender right away, and it bit them in the ass. They gave out contracts they shouldn't have. They gave up all of their high-end draft compensation that they shouldn't have to try to succeed right away. And guess what? They have the first overall pick. That's why you rebuild correctly. That's why you don't do the Laremy Tunsil trade. But guys, that is going to end it for today's video. Really just hopped on here because I wanted to talk about the breaking news that Stefon Diggs is at Gillette Stadium. He's in Foxborough, Massachusetts, meeting with Mike Vrabel and Elliott Wolf on potentially signing with the Patriots. Make sure I check this one more time, but last time I checked, nothing's been confirmed. Yeah, so Stefon Diggs, at least as of right now, is not a New England Patriot. So it sounds like he at least did leave Gillette Stadium without a contract. I'm sure we'll hear more news about this tomorrow and how it went. But at least at this current time, Stefon Diggs is not a Patriot, but the Patriots did at least meet with him. Let me know what you guys think about this move in the comment section below. Remember, leave a big like on this video, whether you guys are watching live right now or you are watching the replay. It helps out a ton. If you guys are watching on Twitter, make sure to follow us on Twitter. And by the way, if you're watching on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, because you guys only get notified when I go live. I post a lot of videos that you guys don't get notified for. I post shorts, I post community tabs that you guys do not get notified for. So if you like what you saw today, you want to hear more of my thoughts, I released a video earlier today on the Jack Gibbons signing. I released a video yesterday on the Garrett Bradbury signing at center. And I also released a video yesterday talking about how the New England Patriots, in my mind, were the biggest winners of NFL free agency. So if you're watching here on YouTube, make sure to check those videos out. And if you're watching on Twitter, make sure to go to my YouTube channel at Patriots Global, link in my Twitter bio, and subscribe at Patriots Global. As always, though, love you guys so much for kicking it with me, clicking on today's video to hear me talk about some Patriots news. But until next time, go Pats, baby.